MLR, the final will be between ATL and the LA Guiltinis next week. This week, 4 days time, I think it is. Yeah, they both managed to sneak through at home. I've watched both these games, and to be honest, man, they both played like proper, close, hard fought, knockout rugby, which is kind of what you would expect. Gone are the multiple, 4 try plus games. It's finals footy, and it's pretty tight more than anything else. 1 point in it for RUNY and only 4 points in it for LA, and they both kind of had to come back late after being behind. But the first one, ATL. RUNY couldn't actually get through on the scoreboard, but at one point they were up, I think 9 points to 3, and it was that way kind of towards the late period of the game. ATL had missed an early penalty, but got their second one on like 9 minutes after a scrum. RUNY missing touch was a bit frustrating, and then I think later on they had a good touch finder, and then they missed the line out, so it was kind of a few shaky head moments for RUNY. They eventually did manage to get a penalty after a bit of breakdown pressure to make it 3 points apiece. And then a hell of a long range one a couple of minutes later to make it 6-3. So they actually went in front right before halftime. ATL did have one last chance, but RUNY's maul defense held, which was pretty pleasing for the RUNY guys. So yeah, tight game at halftime. Only 3 points in it. Another big period of ATL pressure in RUNY's half to start the half off with, but eventually the TMO has a look at a kind of a stamp off the ball or a kick out, and it's I think Wengelski, excuse the pronunciation, right after they had the RUNY guys under a huge period of pressure, so it was a big let off. Especially seeing as RUNY had actually just been yellow carded before for repeated infringement. So it's 14-on-14 at that point, but RUNY managed to get out of jail. ATL missed a penalty just wide on 54, so it's the second one they'd missed. When you're looking at the scoreboard, that was pretty costly. And RUNY managed to get their lead extended after their own kind of period of pressure around about the hour mark to make it 9 points to 3. 9 points to 3 in that game. It didn't look like anybody was going to come back from that kind of deficit. But RUNY were maybe the masters of their own demise. They got a yellow card. I think it was Nawati with a high tackle. It's kind of an unnecessary one. That puts them under pressure. ATL weren't doing themselves any favors though by knocking the ball on. But the crowd were getting behind them, and eventually they cracked the defense on 74 minutes. So they left it pretty late. They went in front with a straightforward conversion, 10 points to 9. There was a bit of pressure on the charge down, but still managed to get it through. It was just a heap of phases, 10 points to 9. Right at the death, RUNY were in their own 22, needing to go length of the field to get any points on the board, were unable to get it done. The announcer at that ground, man, he's got a real interesting way of talking. But ATL dominated the game, possession, territory. RUNY had to make a lot more tackles. Credit to them, though, for staying in the game as long as they did. Maybe that kind of home crowd just got ATL over the line. The other game was scoreless for like the first half an hour. It was kind of crazy. There were both sides making errors. The lineouts were not great. There was turnovers, maul errors. Like it wasn't the flashiest stuff you've ever seen from either side. But the first try to AAC, Adam Ashley Cooper, was actually a pretty good one. That one was a weird one because it was a box kick, and then Teo looked to try and mark it in the Utah 22, but because it had been touched by a player, it was kind of play on. So that put him under a bit of pressure. He did well to kind of get out of jail, but eventually LA get pressure back on Utah and go through some phases. I think Meeks has a line break in the build-up, and AAC's kind of step back inside, beats like 3 guys, so it's a proper thing, a beauty try after waiting that long. So it's 7-0. And right before halftime, Utah switched to going for threes after having turned down threes earlier in the game to make it 7-3 at halftime. Seemed like the right move because it was kind of hard for them to convert. And they got another one actually in the second half, a good hard kick but they managed to get that one done. 7 points to 6. Proper game on stuff again. LA had a big line break. I think it was Meeks again. He was looking pretty busy. There might have been a forward pass in the build up to that one, but they couldn't convert. Ghetto took a hit to the head. They were kind of concerned whether it was a strike from the guy carrying the ball, but they ruled no, it was just his kind of ball carrying arm. It wasn't his other arm away from his body, but I'm sure Ghetto will be feeling that one the next day. But yeah, Malolo, man, does that guy ever not score tries for Utah? He is an incredible try-scoring machine, man. That one went to the TMO on 58 minutes. That was Basker kicking into LA's 22. LA messing up their own line-out. And again, the line-outs were pretty bad in this game. It's one LA will need to look at for next week, or this week. But yeah, I think it was like second phase after the messed up line-out. Utah went over through Malolo. They had the TMO, but yeah, they gave it. So 13 points to 7, Utah in front. And again, in the scheme of these games, that seems like a pretty comfortable lead. 64, LA opted to maul, but they lost it through another error. But they did crack it through when Ryan James got the first of his 2 tries. Countless LA phases. They finally went out wide. Goddard spun it into the space. They missed the conversion though, so still behind 13-12. But they did manage to get it. LA took a long shot after another high tackle on 74 minutes, but they missed the penalty. And I wrote, is that game over? It wasn't. It was James again. Good footwork from him. Another try, 17-13. They did miss the conversion again. I think that was Cardi taking the kicks at that point. But crazy stuff, man. LA and the Utah guys had similar position, 49-51. But territory, LA controlled it 58-42. Run meters 920 to 655. So, yeah, crazy game. I guess 3 tries to 1, you would say LA is probably a fair winner in that one if you're just looking at that aspect of the game. But Utah, man, they gave them a fright. Likewise, RUNY did ATL. The way the seasons had been going, from what limited amount I followed it looked like LA and ATL were kind of on a collision course from when I started following. So it's maybe not surprising that has kind of panned out. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Who do you see winning this one in a few days' time? Is it LA at home? Or can ATL get an upset? There'll be a new champion other than the Sea Wolves, which will be something a bit different. LA in their inaugural season, maybe. Don't know who I should be cheering for in the final. I don't really mind who wins. Obviously, I know some of the Giltinis guys from their days in Super Rugby and whatnot. But yeah, either way, should be a pretty entertaining final. Maybe a close, kind of like this one, a bit of a battle of attrition rather than kind of flair and skills. But we did see some pretty nice tries from what limited amount we did have to see. You guys let me know your thoughts. Give us your prediction for the final. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.